Wow, well, what can I say about this episode? It was mostly action and really good action too. You could really feel the desperation and danger, and rightfully so, as people did die. I think we all kinda knew that Andrew wasn't dead. Just the way they didn't show it and how Rick closed the door while we only heard him screaming. The screams did sound like death, but obviously they weren't. He was just running for his life. He had a pretty good plan too, almost effective enough to single-handedly take back the prison. In that process, we did see two people go. I'm disappointed to see Lori go, only because I was hoping her and Rick would reconnect in some way. And speaking of that, we did hear Rick yell out her name when shit hit the fan and the zombies started to come, which I suppose was supposed to be poetically dramatic, just as Rick was coming around and thinking about, rekindling their relationship. She dies. And not only does she dies with Rick probably wishing he had been kinder to her in her last days, now that he knows they were her last days. And speaking of her last days, she did give birth to a baby, so there's that, although I don't see how the baby is possibly going to live for more than, half a day. They're not going to be able to feed or take care of it. I suppose they could, go on a run or whatever and look for supplies, but we'll see what happens. I think the bigger question is if Rick is going to care about the baby or not. He already basically believed that it was Shane's, and I think we all kind of believe that it's Shane's baby. So is Rick going to come around, especially after he finds Lori's body, or whatever he does, and then help take care of the baby? Raise the child as if it were his own? I hope so. And then the other person who died, T-Dog. I'm really disappointed to see T-Dog go. I don't feel he ever got enough screen time or enough importance of a role, and I really liked his character. I was kind of hoping he'd be one of those characters that stuck around for the entirety of the show, or at least almost the entirety of the show. At the very least, I was hoping he would stick around in the show until Merle met up with the group again. That would have made for a very interesting, intricate parties, dramatic sort of situation. Merle and Daryl are reconnecting, enjoying having each other around again. Meanwhile, Merle wants to kill Rick and T-Dog, but he sort of knows T-Dog isn't to blame, so he just wants to kill Rick, but obviously T-Dog would want to stop him. But none of that really matters now. It's all conjecture because T-Dog's dead. Then, of course, there's the other part of the show, the Woodbury stuff, which still feels really thrown together as if it's just not important, and I just can't grasp the reason that it's included in the show. I know Andrea's there, and Merle too, as well as Michonne and the governor, but it just doesn't feel as if it has a place. I get that Michonne senses something's wrong, and the governor is probably lying to them, and everyone knows the governor is lying, everyone important anyway, but I don't see why she wants to leave that badly, and I don't see why Andrea wants to stay that badly. Neither of them really have any motivations. I'm going to end this video pointing out the comical line that Michonne gave the governor, questioning him about how at least one of the National Guard guys would have driven away. She said, you'd think at least one of them would have driven away. But how the hell does she know they didn't? She doesn't know anything about it. She wasn't there at the scene to see them all get shot. She saw the blood in the bullet holes, but she doesn't know anything else about it. Maybe she was just supposed to be testing the governor, and he sort of fell into it by agreeing, yeah, times are tough. They probably, they're loyal soldiers, so they stuck around, but even with that answer, he wouldn't know anything about it either. If he's playing the innocent part, which he is, then nobody can know if any of them drove away. It's just silly.